Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from the profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. He conquers the markets, he turns water into wine. His timing flows where chaos turns divine. Cut sharp enough to time the sign. Yeah, this man's no common trader. He commands the market's numbers. We call him Chef Bailey. The market bends beneath his flame. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from the profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. Markets move, they twist and swing. Every tick can burn or bring. Ryan keeps calm, he trusts his thing. The charts tell him everything. But when T1 makes ding, 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 the futures spread their hidden wing. And he is ready for anything. Vic's still looking like a restless king.
Ready to stop guessing and start growing as a trader. Welcome to Vici Trading Solutions, a community built by real traders for serious learners. We don't just post trades, we teach the why behind every move. With a full education section and daily breakdowns, you'll start seeing the market like a pro. You won't be trading alone. Inside the Vici Discord, you're surrounded by committed traders, from futures pros to rising crypto specialists, all learning and winning together. Gain first access to our exclusive indicators, powerful tools used daily by hundreds across TradingView and beyond. These aren't gimmicks, they're built to sharpen your edge. Each morning, our founder posts a full trading plan for the S&P 500 or NASDAQ and calls out the levels he's watching live. No fluff, just clarity. Education, tools, community. Whether you trade futures, stock, or crypto, Vici gives you the foundation and firepower to grow. Join Vici, trade smarter, conquer the markets.
Welcome back, everyone, and happy Tuesday it is. And I think it's pretty obvious that we are in rollover. Man, what a brutal day today. It was just slow and grindy. And man, I tell you, nothing worse than coming in. I mean, this is just a funky week. And so we're going to do things a little different because this week is really, so far I'm already feeling the pain. Just so you guys know, I hate rollover week. I mean, I really prefer not to trade it at all. I sat in the room with the guys today and took a few trades, had a couple losses. And I just don't like rollover. One, and this is kind of what we're going to do about this session today. We're going to talk about the market. We're not even going to talk about what happened today. I want to go over a few things with you as I've been analyzing the market this afternoon. And we're going to talk about opportunities and when our best opportunity is. And guys, trust me when I tell you this, rollover is terrible. It is the worst time to trade. And I know that some people are going to make money during rollover, but let me tell you what, the probabilities of the levels playing just in general for anyone is very shaky. You got volume split between two different contracts, okay? You've got levels that are playing on each contract independently. And, like I said, we've got options volume split as far as the futures are concerned. It makes for very difficult trading. And I was looking at, so I just rolled over today, as you guys know. I generally wait until the very last day. I usually stretch it out until Wednesday or Thursday. This week, we have a very crazy day, or very crazy week. As many of you know, I put in the trade plan this morning that not only do we have rollover this week, which was crazy, right? And I expected the volume to come in much later in the week, but apparently Thinkorswim and TradingView and a couple other platforms, NinjaTrader, whatever, they all rolled over yesterday. So I felt inclined to roll over, obviously to give you guys the levels that, your platform is spitting out. And I got to tell you, I did it a little prematurely, and I'm not saying anything bad about it, but there's a reason why I wait till the very end. I mean, we talked about it yesterday about how the spread between SPX and ES is also, as we get closer to rollover, it starts to converge. And, right before rollover, it only gets like a couple points away. And then once we roll over, like right now, I think we're 65 points different, the new contract. And as time goes on, it slowly converges until it's time for the next rollover, and so on and so forth. And that's how they figure out all the carried forward costs and all that stuff. The issue that I have with it, right, is not only the fact that the volume is split up, the price action always sucks. But, again, it's more about understanding the structure and the levels, right? So we were on M contract for 3 months. We knew these levels like the back of our hand. This is what was important. This is what was playing. And it really gave us a strong foundation. Now, as we come into this new contract, I turned on the computer last night to roll over for, to redraw or whatever. And I was so surprised. We were all-time highs. I didn't even know that the new contract had made all-time highs. SPX had definitely not. And the contract we were on ES definitely did not. And so, looking at it from that perspective, being underneath resistance to being way above an all-time highs, I mean, these are the type of things that really throw us for a loop, right? And it makes it very difficult to really kind of pinpoint the accuracy, which is why I really prefer to wait until rollover is done. So this week, just to let you guys know, not only do we have rollover, right? But, and here's the thing, a lot of people rolled over yesterday. Then we had today. Today was fairly muted. Why was today fairly muted? Well, we have FOMC tomorrow, guys. I don't know if you guys realize that, but, a lot of times during FOMC, the day before, price doesn't do a whole lot of action. If it does, it just kind of grinds around a little bit. And I think we saw that. Now, we did sell off a little bit today. But again, I mean, what was it an artifact from? That's a great question. And we're going to go over these charts and take a look. But I also want to talk about tomorrow being FOMC. Guys, even in non-rollover, I don't trade FOMC. I will normally trade the morning, and then when we come into FOMC, I'll stop around noon, right? Try to get 1 or 2 trades and be done with it. But now we're not only in rollover, but now we have FOMC, and we have a new Fed chair, okay? So again, I said yesterday on the stream, I was trading definitely when Janet Yellen passed the torch to Jerome Powell. But I don't recall the volatility that took place, and I'm sure it wasn't during rollover. And so, we have a very different Fed chair sitting here now. He's a little bit more hawkish, and he's not scared to raise rates and so on and so forth, which is interesting that Trump, put in the ante for this guy because Trump wants lower rates. But, as long as he does what's good for the economy, that's what's important. So we have a brand new voice coming in tomorrow. We don't know how he talks. We don't really know how he thinks. Right. And so right now they're doing a 90% price in for no rate raise tomorrow. OK. And then there's like a 60% chance or something like that, or there was yesterday, that he could potentially raise rates. But I think today's numbers were 90% chance we're not doing anything tomorrow. But it's more important. It's not just about are they going to raise rates tomorrow? It's what is he going to say? Right. And we don't really know what he's going to say or how he says certain things. Right. Because, we were with Jerome for so long, we got used to things that he said, and you could kind of interpret this. And the algorithms, of course, that listen to his speeches, knew how to play the game. But this is going to be a whole new ball of wax for us tomorrow. And so FOMC is going to be very volatile and very dangerous, in my opinion. Not only that, but like I said, we're right in the middle of rollover. Okay. And then, that on top of it, we got Thursday after that, which, it's whatever, just a normal day. But then Friday's Juneteenth. So we don't even have trading on Friday. The market is closed. I know there's some holiday hours that are going to take place. I know I'm not doing shit because, a holiday on rollover, and no, thank you. So with that being said, I really just wanted to talk about the opportune times and why, and rollover is dangerous. And we have a lot of things going on this week that is even raised more concerns for me. So I just want to relate this to you guys. I know that for those of you who are trade plan holders, you probably read it in my trade plan this morning. I even told the guys in the stream, and ladies for that matter, that, more than likely I was not going to be taking a trade today. Now I did, and, I felt inclined to, but, it was, didn't work out. It didn't work. I should have not taken a trade. But, either way, it's, it's part of the game, right? And so, it's just the facts of rollover. rollover. And so I just wanted to share with you guys, as you're going to continue to grow and evolve with me, just so you know, a lot of traders, they never make it past the first year. Well, if you're trading with me and you're trading the process and you're trading the plan, you're going to make it way longer than a year. So we're going to be trading together for a long time. And so I'm telling you this because we're going to deal with this 4 times a year. We have rollover every quarter. Okay. So, rollover sucks. And if you can take the week off, take it off, right? Because the probabilities and opportunities are extremely low. So let's go ahead and get into the charts. I have a few things I want to talk about. I've already, said all I can say about that. It is truly about picking your right opportunities to trade. And really this week is going to be very difficult. And Piper says this is a new one for the Fed chair for him. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't recall, Piper, what happened with Jerome. I wasn't paying attention. But now I will be, right? Because these are the type of things that, it's like, we're learning, right? Every day is a learning ordeal. And that's what kind of makes this business beautiful as we continue to learn more about ourselves and the process and the geopolitical climate and how the market reacts. So before we get into everything, guys, make sure that you like and subscribe across all these socials, YouTube, X, Facebook, Substack. Smash that like button, subscribe, all that stuff. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your brother, get them to sign up. Guys, this is good stuff. We're putting out the hits. We do big numbers every week. The Discord room's doing great. We've had nothing but excellent things to say. And so, do it. There's plenty to go around. Do everybody a favor. Do me a favor. Put it out there. Definitely love to see some more people crushing it out here with us. So that would be really nice. Also, another thing that I want to share with everybody is we have, on Thursday, just so you guys know, I'm doing a webinar for those of you guys who don't know what prop firms really are. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that don't understand how prop firms work. And when I say work, I don't mean like you trade and you get money. A lot of people get confused. They're like, I don't understand how they can give you a $50,000 account for $100. Well, they're not doing that, right? And so we get really into the inner workings of exactly what the prop accounts are, how they work, how they work to the advantage of the prop firm companies, and then basically how we apply our system to beat the prop game, right? And so, I show you how you can easily take $1,000 and turn into a $10,000 a month potential possibility. So, we're going to go with my favorite prop firm companies, and we're going to do my favorite copiers. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about the strategy and really just talk about how you can slowly work your way up into making 10 G's a month from sitting at home and prop farming. That's what I call it, prop farming. So this is going to be the Funded Trader Blueprint. If you have not signed up for this and you don't quite understand prop firms and you're still using your cash or what have you, I highly recommend you sign up for this webinar. I went ahead and put the link in the description. It's on Substack and it will be in YouTube, and I'll post it on Twitter as well. Definitely sign up for that. It's only going to be an hour. It's going to be Thursday. It's 7 o'clock. I'm also going to be giving away 2 prop firm evaluations. So if you're there, awesome. As long as you register and you put a phone number that I can text you to, I will go ahead and if you win, I'll text you, and then you email me back and we'll make it happen. So that's the biggest thing. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this because I really, really, really want to show you guys a few things here. Okay, so I don't even know where to start. Okay, so I've been looking over this quite a bit, and first off, I guess let's talk about this. Let's talk about our new contract month. Okay. So this is the new contract month on the cash session. All right. Let me go ahead and pull this over. We basically bolted from Sunday. We basically broke out above 74.58, which was, we did it on the other contract too, on M contract, but we opened here and we pushed above, right? With this one, we literally made a new all-time high and we're starting to sell back. A substantial difference in the way the chart looks. Okay, so let me just go ahead and show you what I mean by that. Here is what the chart looks like for ES on the old contract. Okay, a significant difference here. Let me go ahead and hide this. So look at just absolutely look at this difference. I'm going to pull this one down over here. This is the ETH contract for the new contract, and then of course what we're dealing with right now for rollover. Let me go ahead and hide this stuff. So look at the difference here, guys. And I'm just going to pull this over so that you can see, right now, the new contract made a new all-time high and we're selling back. Right now, the old contract, we still didn't make a new all-time high, which is a huge difference. I mean, ridiculous difference. And so, you know, I've said multiple times, I don't like trading rollover. I like to let rollover kind of wash over for the week, and then we can reestablish what levels are truly important and go on from there. And the reason I say that is because, you know, when I looked at the previous month's contract today, it was really pretty eye-opening on a few things that you couldn't see on this particular contract. So check this out. This is really, really interesting stuff. And I'm going to show you what my thought process is and how we can potentially play this. Okay. So first and foremost, right, before, you know what, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's just do this the right way. All right. So check this out. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this current month's contract, right? This is the U contract. If you've already rolled over, you can see that we made a new all-time high, and now we're starting to sell back a little bit, right? And we held the 76.15 today for quite a long time this morning and in the overnight session. As you can see right here, this is the 76.15. And then, of course, this was our big point of failure also below, okay? So the 76.15 was the big overnight hold, and then they pushed down to the 75.83. We actually closed below the 75.83 today, which really is kind of, you know, I'm wondering if we have a little weakness here to bring us down about 50 plus points into the 75.27. And the reason I say this is because I just went through all these charts, and I got to tell you, rollover's tough, man, because it's, you know, it's especially when you got one at all-time highs and the other one not. It's crazy. What's up, TR? Phoenix, Jim, Bob, pleasure to see you guys. Tamika. All right. So I just want to show you kind of my thinking here, and let's just kind of go through this together. All right, let me pull up my pin. So check this out. So right now, this is our support here, the 83, and we closed below it. We do not have any untested. 42 was tested on Sunday night and Monday. This is what we pushed above to get to this push higher. Hang on, let me get my pin up here. Give me 1 second here. So I have this 75. Of course, my pin doesn't work. Why is this not a surprise? I have the 75.27 daily. This thing has been big for a long time, and you guys know that. I've talked about this. I even talked about this actually giving us a pretty big reaction if we came up to it from the underside and rolling, okay? So this is all going to come together when I show you this, and you're going to be like, damn, dude, how do you put this two together? And this is kind of what I'm getting at, right? So a close below 83, there's a possibility we could slip down in here to 75.27, okay? Now, when we take a look at the 4-hour chart, I'm going to show you a few things, okay? So take a look at my 4-hour chart, right? We came right down, we played the 75.77 today, okay? And now we're sitting here and we're below the 83. If you guys recall, when we were up here last time, 83 was our big short trigger as well. It was actually 77.83. And once again, we are holding 77, but we're underneath the 83. I truly believe that if this area, if we open up below the 77 tomorrow and ultimately the 83, we could come down into the 75.27. This is also that very large point of control that I showed you guys right here. It was a really large high volume node, and that is that massive untested daily. Okay. Now I'm just counting points here. Okay. Now let's count with me, right? And we're going to do rough math. 75.83 to, let's just call it 75.30. Okay. And let's just call it 75.80 to 75.30, right? So 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. That's 50 points, right? From here to here is 50 points. Will they come down there? I don't know, but I'll show you why I'm counting this, okay? Because this is going to throw you for a loop. Now, check this out. Here is the older contract on ES. I just showed you the new contract on ES, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I've just got the RTH daily levels marked here, okay? Check this out. What are we below? 75.27. We are literally below our major level. Not only that, but look what we played yesterday. Since I rolled over, I didn't see it, right? God, I fucking hate rollover, right? Since we literally played this daily to the tick, 75.83, and we're starting to come down. Not only that, but look at this daily. We closed below 75.27. I know that you guys recall me saying last time, on our way up, how big 75.27 was. This thing was holding us up. It held the whole structure up. And now we've closed below it. Okay. Just when I saw this, as I was sitting here prepping for the stream, I threw all the slides away and I said, all right, we're going to talk about this because this is just crazy, right? This is, to me, is a high probability short. Okay. High probability. And of course, we didn't see it because we rolled over, right? We were still in all-time highs. You can't see anything in all-time highs. What are you supposed to see up here, right? Like, there's no resistance to play up here, right? So when I saw this today, I was like, you have got to be shitting me, right? And now we're closed below 75.27, right? So let's just say with this close here, and this has dribbled down a little bit since SPX, but let's just call it 75.20 to 75.60, right? Roughly, rough estimates, right? So 60, 70, 80, 90, what is he? 20, 10, 20. So that's 60 points, guys. We said 50, 60 points somewhere in there, right? Because now our spread is so different on ES versus, whatever. So look, if we come down, this is the 75 or 74.58. This is the same top down 4 hour that we played with the short. Now that we're under 27, this sure as hell looks like we could come down here on the old contract. Okay. I'm just pointing this out because I want you guys to see what the old contract's doing, because I did not want to roll over until Wednesday, but I did it because, and this is part of the reason why. This is why I wait as long as possible, right? So they played this massive daily at the high lost. We're coming down. We closed underneath 27. There's a high probability we're coming down to 75.48 on the old contract. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at SPX. All right, so check this out. So SPX gives us a slightly different picture, okay? Now, this is an untested weekly up here. We talked about this, and I talked about it being a big deal, but they missed it, okay? They didn't miss it by much, but they did miss it by about 5 points. For a weekly level, that's acceptable, okay? I would prefer a real touch, but 5 points on a weekly level, weekly candles are big, right? It's acceptable. So we come down, and we're right in our valley here. So guess what our big daily level is for SPX? We've only talked about it 100 times. It's the same level as we had for the other one, 75.27, which would be ES, which would be this top down. Now we have 75.01. That's the SPX. You guys have probably heard me say this 100 times at this point. Okay, 75.01, blah, below, 75.20, blah, blah, blah. All right, now we've closed below 75.82. No big deal. But tomorrow, if we open below 75.01, that's the same thing as us being below the 27 that we just showed you on the whole contract, right? This thing could melt and come right back down to 74.38. And again, we're talking about 60 points, right? 74.40 to 75.01, roughly 60 points. And I'm doing this so that we can understand where our context is for areas that we're looking for support. Because if you guys recall, we're playing the new contract, right? God forbid we're playing the new contract, right? But guess what? We have the 27. We're literally underneath it on, it's crazy. On the other charts, we're like either right at it or below it. But on our new contract, we're well above it, right? And so really, what is 30 minus 50? Or 30 minus 80, roughly 50 points, 50, 60 points, somewhere in there is like what we're talking about. And so this is our big support now, which is the 75.27. But on an SPX and all that and what have you, it's the 75.01. And we need to hold this if we're going to continue to move up. But right now, and it is very much untested. But what I'm telling you is if we open up below 75.01 right here, there is a good chance that we'll come down to 74.38, right? And that will be the next big buy for us. So I just wanted to show you guys how confusing rollover can be, right? And how difficult it is to find the right levels from a precision standpoint. You got 1 month that you're all the way at the all-time highs, and the other ones you haven't made an all-time high at all. You actually smacked from a daily high lost, which was probably one of the best spots on the chart to get short. So it's just, it's crazy and it's difficult, right? And so this is, one of these areas right now where I'm telling you, we need to keep an eye on 75.01. Now, if we come down here, I do think 74.38 is going to play on SPX, right? And ultimately, that's going to be the 75.27 daily on our new month's contract, right? And then, of course, look, and I know not to confuse you anymore, but on the old contract, about 50 or 60 points, right, is going to be the 74.58 top down 4 hour that we played on Friday for the short. Again, the reason why I keep measuring it for you and going over the 50 to 60 points is because I'm trying to figure out exactly where our next level of support is at, because we have such a huge discrepancy, right? Now, it looks to me like on this contract, we'll come down here and play this spot. So it's just crazy to me. Rollover makes things extremely difficult. I mean, this was just an absolutely perfect test. We just opened up to it this morning. And so, so that's that. So I wanted to share that with you guys. The next big thing that I wanted to show you guys is check this out. So you guys know I've been talking about VIX. We've been talking about VIX for some time, and we're down here in the $16, $20, $16 handle range, whatever you want to call it. And I kept telling you guys, like, be careful. The 1620 is a monster, and they did push through it a little bit today. We actually stayed under it most of the day, which was interesting because we stayed under it most of the day, yet they still ground lower, okay? And at the end of the day, we popped up pretty heavy, and they closed above it, okay? So what I'm looking at here is basically if we're going to come down 60 points, or if we could come down, if we will, depending on where we open, this thing's going to pop. And we're going to come right back to 1719, 1744. And we're going to have another deciding factor from there. Okay. Maybe this is where the support's at on SPX/ES. I don't know. What I'm trying to do is put all this stuff in combination for you guys so that you can understand how difficult it is how difficult it is to be accurate when we have such massive discrepancies. And you're right, Piper. SPX is the truth. Right? Because it doesn't roll over, it doesn't change, it doesn't do any of that stuff. And so this all goes back to the very first conversation I had when I very first started on when is the best time to trade. It is not this week. Okay? That is what I'm getting at. Tomorrow, we're still in rollover and we have a new Fed chair. It's going to be very dangerous tomorrow and very volatile. Trade at your own risk. I will not trade. I'm not trading tomorrow, not doing it. And I might trade Thursday, maybe, and Friday's a holiday, okay? But I am definitely not trading tomorrow, okay? Because we're going to have more rollover bullshit tomorrow. And to be honest with you, I don't like this massive discrepancy, right? And so looking at VIX, this is going to be our big decision spot. The question is will we come into this spot when we're into support on ES/SPX? That is a question that remains to be seen. So I just wanted to show you guys what I was looking at, how difficult it is, and really, so that you understand why I'm always like, I hate rollover. I don't want to deal with rollover. I don't want to trade rollover. And a lot of people are like, why not? It's just another day. No, it's not just another day. And I'm hoping that you're seeing exactly what I'm looking at as I'm trying to deliver you high probability trades. I'm like, one's at all-time high, one's not, right? So with that being said, I'm just going to leave it there and just tell you guys to be super duper careful tomorrow, okay? And Piper is right. I'm going to be leaning on SPX really, really hard tomorrow, okay? If we open up underneath 75.01, your first target is 74.60-ish, right? And then we could come down into this 38 area, and we will figure it out from there. Okay. As long as we stay above 75.01, we're going to continue to go back to the upside. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I thought it was more important than going over the trade plan today. It's really just showing you the difference in both the contracts and how one can be at all-time highs and one can't. And then we have SPX, which really is our true guide here, and really how it came up and really missed a weekly by almost, just a couple of points. And so, the fact that we're coming down really shouldn't be a big surprise. But I'll tell you this, if you were looking at ES and you were looking at the new contract, you're just like, oh, no, like me, no big deal. We're just going to pull back from the all-time highs and buy some support. Wrong. So you wouldn't know that unless you looked at all this other stuff. And so I wanted to share with you guys, and that's where I'm going to leave it. So if you are interested, obviously I'll be around tomorrow. We're going to do the post-market breakdown. And exactly. Yeah. So you get it, TR. That's exactly what's going on. And I wanted to share it with you because it's just like, the plan is always very spot on, as you know, but it's, this is rollover week. And if I can make any advice to you whatsoever, I would just be very patient this week and maybe only take trades that are, that have already been confirmed, et cetera. I am probably not going to trade the rest of the week. I will probably just wait. It's just a couple days. It's a holiday. It's rollover. It's FOMC. I'm good. Right. So with that being said, guys, make sure you sign up for the webinar that we're doing on Thursday. It's going to be awesome. Going to give away a free couple prop firms. And then, of course, join me tomorrow. We'll talk about FOMC and see what they did. I am really curious what they're going to do with this new Fed chair. I think that he's a little bit more on the hawkish side, and I don't, he could not tell the market what they want to hear. So it'll be very interesting to see what's up. So again, I appreciate everyone joining me, and I hope this was a wonderful explanation for you guys. And I hope that you carry this knowledge with you forward every time we go to rollover. This is a perfect time to go out and do something else. You don't have to trade every day, right? And if you could pick any days to take off, it's rollover week. So enjoy the grass, enjoy the outside. It's starting to be spring and summer. Get out there and mow your grass or do some weeding or something. So you guys have a great one, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.